going to Wichita.
Boom, boom, boom.
Those are the only lyrics that I know.
Everybody knows about it.
This is the intro music we got, but we are live, folks.
We
This
were
is
sold
an
another
episode
dirty bill of goods.
of the Dress
Shitty
This
intro
Mess.
music.
No, you guys did good. We're actually been on the air for a little bit. I hit record and Gaskin was singing there.
Oh, that's great.
Hey, everybody, this is another episode of Address This Mess, brought to you in the sick studio. Tough for a guy like me with a lisp to get that
This
one out.
sick studio. Red leather, yellow leather. Red leather, yellow leather.
We'll quickly go through our sponsors, and we'll let you know who we got on today's show and what we got going on. We got Amazon. So if you're looking to buy anything at all online, go to amazon.ca. If you want to help the podcast out, go to our website, take a look, click it, buy some shit. We kick half that back to the troops.
No doubt, no doubt.
There.
The Canadian
While you're
troops,
there,
I
you can
need
go
it.
to audible.com. And if you want to listen to books rather than read books, like fucking animal, you got things to do. You go to audible.com and they'll give you one free download.
Yeah, you get.
Try out a
if you
book.
go to, it's
See if
actually
you like the service.
audibletrial.com/ATM. You'll get yourself one.
Ass to mouth.
Yeah, there you go. Easy to remember. You'll
Who was
get,
that?
Who is this guy in our fucking
Who said that?
commercial? Jesus. You'll get yourself one free month trial and one free audio book.
Jackpot. Go to addressthismess.com, click on the link, go to Audible, get one free download. Listen to a book, man. Just listen, one book. It's one book.
And as you can see,
Then
for
you can walk
me,
around telling people you were reading a book the other day when you weren't even reading it. You were just listening to it.
Genius. That's what I've been doing my whole life. All right, as you can tell by me, I hate to shave, and shaving is already annoying enough. Not to mention the high price of brand name razors and the fact that you have to drive all the way to the local store to purchase them. Why not make the razors come to your door, saving you time? What if I told you that you could have them delivered to your door for as little as $3.50 per month? You like how many times that accent changed? That was like 7 different accents.
Yeah.
Let's
Very
go.
talented.
Yeah.
Very talented.
It's really talented. How about we try this? How about we go with the Old Englishman? With Dollar Shave Club, it's not going to work. So go to Dollar Shave Club, go to our website, click it. They will send you razors directly to your door at a fraction of the cost, shaving you time and shaving you money.
And if you really want to get down to business, if you really want to talk turkey, get down to brass tacks, you need to check out onnit.com. Go there for supplements, nootropics, whatever that means, look it up. And they'll send you your products. And if you don't like them, they'll give you your money back. And you can just take all the pills too. Like a fucking junkie. But these things work. And you'll probably be hooked on. Just go to addressthismess.com. Go to the link on it. And they'll even give you like kettlebells to swing around. What are those battle bats?
They're
They're like steel, like something a guy would juggle, but you could just KO a guy and they're like chromed out and shit.
Yeah,
do all these weird movements
they got
with
those,
them?
They got those maces, and then they got the club.
You do these weird like samurai moves with them,
Yeah.
and you just get all those
It's like medieval
muscles
shit.
in your trunk. I don't know what it is,
Yeah.
but they're like heavy bats, and you're just supposed to have a certain kind of form.
I know that Chris Gaskin uses them.
It's all about core strength, boys.
And
Core
battle
strength.
ropes. Gaskin's all over the battle ropes.
Core strength. It doesn't look like I'm strong, but I got core strength. All right, I could.
I got to move this TV to get your little head in there, Gaskin.
You don't really. It's fine.
All right, so today on the show we got back again for I don't know how many times he's been here. He's been here a
Returning
lot,
guest.
but it's been a while
1,
since he's
2,
been in the
3.
studio.
This is the 4th time, I think.
It's Brian Major
What's up?
Fan favorite.
At
That's
the Bloody
Brian.
Savage.
at the Bloody Savage. Follow him, like him on Facebook, buy his CD on iTunes,
It's a funny fuck.
CD Baby.
CD Baby,
And iTunes.
and iTunes. 45-minute CD, you're gonna love it.
Diversifying.
And we've got first timer here, Chris
No, he's been on
Gaskin.
before. He's been on before.
Oh, well, he
Yeah,
called in.
Skyped in.
Right, he Skyped in. That's
We
right.
got Chris Gaskin via satellite, folks. Remember that?
Via satellite the old roaming reigns via satellite, but inside the building.
Where can people find you on Twitter? I guess we can get to this later in the show.
I'm at Chris Gaskin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
At Chris Gaskin.
Gaskin.
What's your website?
ChrisGaskin.net.
.net.
.net.
What's wrong with the .net?
Someone took .com.
Yeah, someone took .com. I'm not paying you $500. Suck my left nut.
Oh no, that's horrible. Yeah, we were lucky enough, knowing how to dress this mess. We
That's
actually,
really the main reason we went with it.
I fucking wonder why no one had it.
because they knew that we needed it. Actually,
That's what you got to tell yourself to sleep at night.
the original first name I think that Stinger ever pitched was Condense the Nonsense.
Wow.
Which is really the motto of the whole deal.
But that was taken.
That's from, remember those terrible Terry Tate videos, The Office Linebacker?
Yeah.
Where he just runs through
Yeah,
the
yeah,
office
yeah,
and lays people out.
Yeah.
It's one of the things he says to the camera. Triple T going to condense the nonsense. You heard?
And then you stuck with address this mess. You're just a rhyming son of a bitch
No,
with
that
a
was his.
crazy itch, huh?
He answered back with a
I countered
another
with a-
rhyming
with a
with
left
the
jab.
same kind of intent behind it. Because I don't know what we were thinking when we started this.
I don't know. It's been
But it was just like we just want to sit down and talk a bit of truth.
the actual anniversary of the podcast was Boxing Day. Was when we actually got.
You can
our
tell because it
website.
puts us in an overdraft.
Yeah, every
Like,
fucking Boxing
This is
Day.
when we started this fucking travesty.
Yep.
That's what, being a,
A
year
year ago?
strong
A
now?
year ago?
Two
years.
now, I think, right?
You're
don't
what?
think so.
This is episode.
2 years.
No,
Episode
it's 1
41.
year.
Way to go.
That's,
That's
that's
guys.
consistency.
No.
No, it's 1 year.
No, it's two.
Is it?
It is two
It's
because I went
2014 right now.
because I went to school. Remember in January, and we had that big fall blank spot.
We got 2 lulls then?
Yeah, so we've got two. We've got a 6-month time frame where I wasn't here.
Sorry, folks.
There's points in the schedule that if you look at the calendar on the website, you can see just a random month cleared for no reason. And then
See,
3
March
podcasts
2013.
in 1 week all of a sudden.
See, March 2013. Yeah, sometimes I'm bad at putting them up. These ones, March 19th was the first one, but that was when we switched over to this hosting server. Before we were on what was not sufficient enough. We didn't have enough bandwidth for all our followers. So,
Yeah.
had to get an upgrade,
Oh,
Anyway, enough about us. We're here to talk about you. Chris, good to have you here. It's good to see you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is
Chris
dream
is
come
a,
true.
Chris is a working comic and a really funny comic. And he was recently on tour.
Yeah.
I want to hear about your tour.
Out
So,
east.
where did you go?
Well, I went out to Ontario for 4 weeks and out to the Maritimes for 2 weeks.
Nice.
So I was just working the Yucks clubs. I did, Vaughan, Mississauga, Ajax. God, I wanted to do Kitchener, couldn't do Kitchener. So Vaughan, Mississauga, Ajax, London, and then Halifax and St. John's.
Yeah.
Not in any specific order that I just listed them off because I'm still
It was a blur.
I'm still hurt from last night. Last night was a rough one.
Oh, you had a good
It
one?
was
Yeah.
Chris Gaskin's birthday
Yeah.
yesterday. So belated happy birthday from Address This Mess.
Oh, thanks.
We'd
That's,
like to present you
because it's an
with
entity
this
larger
card.
than any of
for
the
your
both.
I've already
birthday.
got a bunch of cards. Fuckhead. They're
Okay.
right here.
Well, you guys all saw that. He just turned me down on live air. This will be the last gift Chris Gaskin ever gets on the show.
That's fine.
Set that back
He
there.
could still
So-
win. He could still win celebrity net worth.
Yeah, should we give him a shout out later? We'll see. We
Later
got,
on.
we got a $15 iTunes card to give away anyway.
They don't
during
sell
the
those.
show.
They don't sell those denominations. He had a 25er and he spent on it.
No, you know what it was? Is I couldn't find a fucking $10 one. You can't find $10 iTunes gift cards. They're fucking coming 15s.
Yeah, but that's because every album's $9.99. You incorporate taxes, it's going to be more than $10 anyway. So it's a point
Well,
of
the
having a
user
$10.
is gonna have to pick that one up. I'm just trying to give away $10 here. Now it's 15. Fucking thanks a lot for inflation.
That's not inflation. That just makes
That's
sense with
inflation.
taxes.
No, that's raising the bottom line. It's like how when you go to the movie theater and you get popcorn, the small is $6, but the extra large is $8.25.
Yeah.
But only if you're gonna get popcorn, $6 is the lowest you're gonna pay. That's
Yeah.
not $6 worth of popcorn because they'll give you 3 times as much for $2 more.
Well, of course it's not six.
not
It's like
inflation at
30
all.
cents of
Can you hear me?
popcorn.
Because I can't hear myself.
guys
I
hear me?
can hear you. Say
Okay.
something.
Well, who was that country music artist? He put out a meme. He said back in my day, an album cost $9.99. What does an album cost now?
It's like in between $9.99 and $12.99, pending.
I remember they were 12
Usually
bucks.
like $9.99, right?
Yeah,
So that
the
hasn't
same
gone
price
up
as
at all.
WWE Network. $9.99.
Everything's $9.99.
Dude, I was at Future Shop the other day, and you like look through the bargain bin of the DVDs.
Mhm.
There's like Oscar-winning movies in there for $6. Like I was in the back, and there's Inception for
Yeah.
$6.
Yeah.
Like maybe the best movie ever made.
Well, let's not go that far.
I think
pretty
it has
good.
an argument.
It's
for
great
it.
up there.
I think it's a great
pretty good.
movie, but
It's
I,
right up
got
there.
an argument
I don't
for it,
even
for sure.
think that's his best movie.
In terms of how good it is and what it makes you think.
You think Leo's got a better movie? Is that what you're
No, I was talking the director, not
saying?
Leonardo.
Okay,
No.
well, that's what I was
Do
wondering.
I think Leonardo's in better movies than that? Yes, I do.
Well, if you say Memento, then I'm not gonna.
No, I was going to say The Prestige. I think The Prestige is Christopher
Prestige-
Nolan's best film,
Prestige is unreal.
and the
But
fact that that
Inception-
wasn't even nominated for an Oscar is craziness. Like that was the year that fucking The Departed won. And I'm not saying The Departed
There's
is
no
a bad
beating
movie.
that.
It's not. Yeah, fuck, you're wrong. All right, The Prestige beats that movie. The Prestige is a better movie. First of all, when you see The Prestige the second time, it's a completely different movie.
How much do you think goes into that decision where it's the cast of The Departed that separates it? The
That
cast of The Departed,
First of all,
what they
no,
were willing to
they-
pay all
there's
those
no
guys to
fucking
come together.
decision. Half of the fucking
He gets worked up
Academy,
over small things.
half of the Academy voted for 12 Years a Slave without fucking seeing it. There's no decision. It's just let's give Scorsese
He's
his
angry.
Do they
best
know that?
picture.
Angry little man. I think
Yeah.
Do they know that?
half
Yeah.
of the small people,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely. That's why you go fuck yourself. that's why like 12 Years a Slave won, and then basically The Departed won because that was like giving Scorsese, all right, here's your best picture, because he should have won it 3-4 times prior to
That's
that.
true.
You know what I mean?
But when you're talking about all those actors they put in that movie, that has to mean something. The Prestige was Michael
But The Prestige
Caine.
has a great cast too,
Yeah, but it's just Michael Caine with Hugh Jackman and Christian Bale.
and Scarlett Johansson, and
then,
what's the other chick's
David
name?
Bowie.
Yeah, David Bowie's fucking fantastic.
Yeah, well, he has like 2 scenes. But that movie, the story carries that whole thing. But The Departed is a story plus everybody loves the Boston theme plus
But it's also like
the cast is unbelievable.
It's
You're
a
talking about
remake-
like 6 or 7 huge superstars.
Jack
but it's a
Nicholson.
remake of a film that's better than that is.
Everything you guys are talking about is right now, just to let you know, I have no idea what's going on, but this is opinionated stuff, right?
So
You can't
it's
talk
like-
the way you're Gaskin on something that's opinionated.
Yes, I can.
like-
Absolutely, I can, because it's my opinion.
Yeah, and then I can tell you mine's different.
No,
You
but-
mean
well,
smart. That's what you mean.
No, this is actually trying to work out
So-
what you think is. It's like he could
And-
definitely have a point because I'm not married to the fact.
Like here's the other thing. You look at when
But you're talking about the Academy and what
yeah.
they may or may not have seen the movie. Don't they all have to at least? Isn't their whole job watching movies? Did they just not have
No,
time to
because
catch it?
that's the Academy is also made up of like actors and actresses and
Yeah, if
producers.
you win an Oscar,
So-
you become a member of the Academy.
Yeah,
And you can vote on future Academy Awards.
and you can have people that will just bring you into the Academy. Like if enough people say this person should be in the Academy.
How many members are in the academy?
It grows every year.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
like a
like
couple
what's
thousand.
it at right now? Do you know?
It's like a couple thousand. I'm pretty sure.
We can look it up.
Forget what I was talking
is it
about
called?
when we
But-
first got on this.
We were talking about.
You were talking about Inception, and
the
the
greatest- you said
DVD
that-
was $6.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and then at the front they had like.
And I said The Prestige is a better film because it is.
Right. And then at the front they had some like shitty comedy for like $24.99, but it had just come out. And I was
So it
like,
was
how are you
new.
gonna charge me $24.99 for an Adam Sandler movie when you have Inception in the back for $6? Like your fucking market is way off.
Have you seen Billy Madison?
Yeah,
Okay,
of course I have.
it wasn't Billy Madison.
When was the last time you
No,
bought
no,
it?
no, it was
When's
like
the last time you bought a DVD?
Blended or something.
Yeah, that's also
There's a
great.
book.
No, you don't do it anyways. But like the DVD, the DVDs are so worthless so quickly that Inception's in the back for $6.
I just bought a new laptop, and I was
New jerk machine.
and I was looking at it, and my daughter saw it, and she's like,
See?
she's looking at my new laptop, and I was like, yeah, it's all right, but it doesn't have a disk drive. She's like, what's a disk drive?
Yeah.
She didn't know. Like, I was like, that's how you play movies.
Yeah, it's weird that they don't.
Well, it used to be.
yeah.
Yeah.
It used to
The
be.
reason I got this one over the MacBook Air when I got it was the MacBook Air didn't have a disk
That's
drive.
got the disc drive.
And then now, like, you don't need a disk.
What do you
Does
use it
this have a
for?
disk drive? I don't think this. Fuck, this is a brand new iMac. There's no disk drive, is there?
No, I've got the Microsoft Surface Pro. I got the one that came out like day one. It doesn't have a disk drive. but it's like I've got an Xbox 360. I bought the HD DVD
Right.
drive for it, like a fucking sucker.
I think they're obsolete. Like I don't think you need
No,
a
it is
disc drive
obsolete.
anymore.
But
Well, the thing is, when you get a DVD, you can watch the movie, and you can also watch that same movie on Netflix. But on Netflix, you can't watch the deleted scenes, the behind the scenes, the Q&A or whatever it is.
Right.
Like there's an interview on the Chris Rock DVD, Bring the Pain, that I love. He's interviewed by, I don't know, some black guy, but I watch it all the
Kind of
time.
look like him.
Yeah, Nelson George, and I love
We'll
watching
go with
that interview, right? But I can't watch it because I don't have a disc drive on my computer, laptop.
Yeah.
But I can watch Bring the Pain on YouTube.
But it's like you could buy a USB attachable disk drive for like $20 now. So I mean, realistically,
Yeah,
you
the
could
problem's
buy-
been solved for you. But it's weird how we're moving towards a USB port. Like that's the future.
Well,
It'll be
they're
the most-
making plugins now with them, right? Like you're rather like
Yeah.
in a wall plug-in,
Yeah.
rather than just like the jack. They have USB plug-in,
Yeah, why wouldn't you just
which
have
is what I'm thinking of switching my kitchen over to, because I like having shit charging my phone in my kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah, or you'll just have one or two of them around.
Yeah, they do make them. They make some that I think do both. Like they'll have an actual plug-in, but they also have USB.
The power bar for this Surface Pro has a USB attachment on the power bar, so I can plug it into the wall and then plug in my iPod Touch because I still don't have a phone.
Right.
That's changing on the 5th.
Really? Chris
Yeah.
Gaskin's getting a phone. What are you
Yeah.
gonna do,
Wow,
Brian?
that's crazy.
He's leaving you in the dust, Brian.
I have a phone. You just
Yeah,
don't
Brian
have my
has a
number.
phone. You
You
just-
just don't have my number.
I'm gonna do the same thing Brian's
Who's got my
doing.
number? Who's got my number? My ex-wife,
I do.
my brother.
You
you
lawyer.
do. No.
I know Mike McGuire does because you got mad at him when
That
he
was
sent you 2
funny.
text messages.
No, that
the
was
other day.
Jeff.
You sent me 2? Fuck.
Owen's got it. That's about it.
So how'd your tour go? Out east.
It was fine. There was.
What'd you call it?
I called it the I'm Still Middling tour. I thought that was just funny for me because I really it's fine. It's a nice spot to be at. You don't get the fucking check drop, which is a pain in the ass to get.
What do you mean a check drop? What's
So it's
that mean?
like every so often I'll do the
He
headline.
thinks everyone
spot.
knows what he's talking about when he says that. Stuff like that.
Yeah, well, that's why
Okay.
we're here. That's why
Carry
we're
on.
no,
Carry on.
that's
Carry on.
our job as the interviewers here to break it down so that the people listening at home.
So every so often when the headliner's on, especially at most comedy clubs that have table service, they'll give the people in the audience
What's table service?
the checks. All right, just because you've never been to a fucking restaurant before,
Oh no, sir.
they'll hand the patrons their checks as the headliner's still doing their act. So all of a sudden, everyone's pointing out, "Well, you bought this, I bought this, so you give me $10, I'll pay the rest." It's just like that. They call it the check drop, and then people are paying their bills as you're still trying to do your act. So it makes it a little tough to do.
Right.
There's a move I learned from watching what's his name? He's one of those Rogan guys.
Is Duncan
Bert
Trussell?
Kreischer.
Bert
No, it's from
Kreischer?
watching Bert Kreischer,
Bert Kreischer, yeah,
where
yeah.
he'll pull like a waitress up on stage during the check drop. Say everyone's paying their bills. If you get a bunch of good tips, what are you gonna do? And then either she digs her own hole like a fucking idiot, or says something smart and gets a bunch of money in tips.
Yeah.
And it kills some time. It gets some laughs. It gets the
Right.
crowd into it,
Yeah.
and it basically allows that check drop to go through.
Oh, okay.
Aside from her tables,
Right.
and you really don't have to deal with it besides a small number of people when you get her off the stage, and then just go back into your act.
Right.
So it's a tough spot to be at.
And
Well,
everybody
how often did that
respects a
happen?
little improv too. Everybody respects a little bit of improv.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The crowd.
I've done that once.
No, but how often does that happen in these clubs?
Every fucking show.
Every club?
Not every club. The Halifax Club doesn't have table service. The Halifax Club is like a bar in the back. It's really weird because you'll be mid setup. So the thing about tables, all of a sudden, buddy in the front row will stand up and then walk to the bar,
Yeah.
which is fine. It actually doesn't take away from the experience. It takes away from the experience less than a shitty server.
Right.
Because servers need to learn, especially when they're serving like a comedy show. You gotta whisper and like
Right.
crouch down. Because some of them don't understand that. So you'll be on stage and you'll hear someone talking. You'll be like, "What's that? What are you saying?" And then it's it's the waitress taking an order.
Right.
You
right.
think it's a
And,
heckler?
yeah, you
and
think
you're
it's a
about
heckler.
to
And
attack
you're like,
him?
"What the
You're about to
What
attack
the fuck's the
Listen,
matter
bitch.
with you?" I just asked him what he wanted to drink. Well, maybe fucking whisper it.
Yeah, I can see all those things being like really what's the word? Not concerning.
Disruptive.
Disruptive.
Well,
Thank you.
at
Jesus.
Nancy O's, he makes an announcement. He says 5-minute warning. Go to the washroom.
That's a
have
great thing to do.
Have a smoke.
Yeah.
Order one. Order refresh your drink.
Yeah.
And shut the fuck
Get-
up.
yeah, and
That's,
Yeah,
Get
that's all- every
settled.
time.
Get
shut the
settled
fuck up.
in.
How did the show go last night, by the way?
it was good. I don't know why the fuck you didn't show up.
I was. But what did I end up doing? I went to a family dinner actually at Twisted Cork.
Yeah, you went to
know.
a family dinner at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, I was there at 6:30 and I left there. What 9:30? I'd say 9:30. Yeah.
What time
So
did
you
we start?
couldn't have left a little bit early and just come by and do
No,
something.
these,
Do a
these are
5-minute
people I don't get
spot?
to see all the time. I would have liked to. I haven't been on stage in a while. It would have been nice, but yeah. Who all went up last night?
I emceed.
Yeah.
You go up.
It was Mike
Chris?
McGuire's idea to throw this together. So
Did it sell out?
No.
we made some money.
Yeah.
Because what we were gonna do is I went out for dinner with a group of people from.
Like, I know I've got you on the show tomorrow night, and I know
Yeah.
you couldn't do it, which sucks because I already, like, put out the posters.
Yeah.
I had them built up, and then you're like, I'm out. And I'm like, I got your face on this fucking thing.
What was it there? No, what it was, we phoned because I had got some friends in from Grand Prairie,
Yeah.
and they were who I went for dinner with, and I said, hey, there's a comedy show at 8:30. We should go swing by and watch after.
Yeah.
And they phoned Nancy O's. Nancy O said they're sold out. They said they'd have room at the door. They said all it would be is walk-ins, and there were 10 of us, and I was like, well, I don't think they're.
Did you say it was you?
No.
You
He
should have.
phoned.
You
Yeah.
should have.
Yeah.
They would have squeezed you in.
Yeah.
There was enough room because, like, a bunch of people left right before the show,
Oh yeah.
which was good because it was some guy that was already.
Yeah, he's gonna
The
be
guy
an
in the
issue.
scarf.
Yeah, the guy with a fucking
Like a frilly- like a frilly
t-shirt
scarf.
and a fucking scarf.
form-fitting
Who wears a
t-shirt.
t-shirt and a scarf? Like,
But he wore
Ugh.
like one of those bandana type.
Did he
so it's
keep
like-
a scarf on inside?
on?
Yeah.
At Nancy O's.
Oh, so
he
that-
was inside wearing a fucking t-shirt and a scarf. This guy was like next level piece of shit. All right, I don't even know. I don't know his name. I don't want to know his name. I want to just punch him in the face. That's all I want to do.
Yeah.
It was disgusting.
That's hilarious.
What was I gonna say?
What's a scarf?
When was the last time you were on stage?
No, would have been when did I do it
UNBC?
before we left? That's what I'm wondering. Was it? Did
Dude,
go
I kept
on?
trying to get him out to show after show after show.
I know. I feel bad. I never made out in Vancouver. I really wish I would have came out. Just busy, man. School. It's fucking.
It wasn't
priorities,
school.
right?
You're fucking chasing pussy like an idiot.
No,
Half the
no,
time
no.
you're at fucking Canucks games.
Chasing them off
I
around.
went to 2 Canucks games and school, man.
Days are confused.
Playing video games with these fags. It's relaxing. It's draining, you know.
Yeah, school's hard work.
No, I think writing is the biggest.
My
The
my
toughest
biggest
part.
concern is like even for tomorrow night, like I'm gonna just do my same 10.
Yeah,
that's fine.
People won't
Is that what
see.
we're doing? Like how? Well, what are we doing for time?
That 10 to 15.
10. Okay,
Maybe.
Yeah, well, whatever you want. I'll do 5. Fuck, it doesn't matter.
I mean, that gives me more time, but it also shuts the bar down because I'm pulling double
the
duty. I couldn't find a
bartender.
fucking bartender.
Oh
So,
And he's the doorman too.
yeah.
He's the ticket taker
Oh
too.
my
No,
goodness.
no, no. I got my buddy Corey doing that. So
Okay. What?
it'll be fun, but it'll just be something where we'll do a brief intermission in
Are
between
there
a couple
gonna
comics.
be people there?
Huh?
Shit.
Did you
Have
tell
you
people
invited
about
people?
it?
Have you invited people?
No, I haven't been doing anything.
Why
Have you
not?
reactivated
Well,
your
I didn't.
Facebook?
I tried to get a hold of you. No, I haven't. It's gone.
It's gone.
It's gone.
If anyone's taking a bath, it's me. I don't know why you're concerned about it.
No, well, just because I've got a lot of people asking me to do shit on New Year's, and I was like, well, I think
He's
I'm doing
very
this
popular.
comedy show,
Yeah.
And then
You agreed to it fucking 3
Yeah, I
months
know.
ago.
That's why I said I'm gonna come and do it if we're doing it. But if we're like, I tried to ask you what the deals with it are, and I was looking and I don't know. I just didn't think that it was the best idea doing it through midnight. But
You don't have to stay. You can go on early.
No, it doesn't matter. I'm not worried about it.
Gotta
it-
do a half hour though.
No, because we were gonna do it like a late show, almost like a club, but then
Right.
lead it right into the countdown.
Right. Because I was, I guess, yeah. Because what I thought would have been good is if we did it.
That'd be tricky. Hey, trying to follow midnight.
Yeah, oh yeah, going on.
All right,
after
everyone
midnight.
settle down.
Yeah.
What's the deal with these streamers?
You just turn off his fucking.
Yeah, he just hit the cord.
No, yeah, we got a shoddy mic cord over there.
Hey, everyone,
It's all right.
stop dancing, stop kissing. I got more dick jokes.
My name is Brian Major.
So, anyways,
Thank you for listening.
But
Yeah, that sounds like you.
Yeah,
that's the name of my second CD.
But I was thinking it's always a toss up of what I'm gonna like. I come up with a title after title
Yeah.
for my CD. I was thinking of calling it two cigarettes and a cup of coffee. Just because I've got a joke about how when my parents got divorced, we basically became white trash,
Yeah.
and I started telling time by a number of cigarettes.
Right.
So I'd look at my mom, when are we leaving this place? And she'd be like, one more cigarette.
Yeah.
Like, that's how we knew how much time.
Yeah.
It's like a white trash guy knows how long in distance it is by how many beers he's got to drink on the drive over.
Right. Right.
Except with time is cigarettes. So I go, when my friends would call up, when you coming over to play Nintendo, I'd be like, I like 2 cigarettes and a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
That's how I'd answer at 8 years old, like a
Yeah.
fucking maniac. I'm sure they were. This kid's crazy,
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. No, that's funny.
So it's like I keep switching my mind of what I'm gonna call it, but I always like having a name based off of something that I say
In the show.
in the show.
Right.
So it's like that's how I named my CD, and then of course that fucking Kumail Nanjiani
Oh, Kim.
album came out like
Okay, yeah,
literally 3 weeks.
What did he
Before
call it?
he called his beta mail, and when I saw that I was like, oh fuck, but I already did all the artwork in that, and I couldn't like redo all the artwork
Right.
last minute because I had everything ready
Who
to
do you
go.
get to do your artwork? Do you do it yourself?
I did it myself. Yeah, I had a friend take a picture of me,
Yeah.
and then I just bought a silhouette pack for like $20. So I didn't have to use the copyright, and then just use the silhouette in juxtaposition to me. So it was like a bunch of big tall guys, and then me standing there with my arms crossed, just being tiny.
as,
Yeah,
the,
yeah, yeah.
as the beta male,
The lambda male.
lambda male,
Lambda male.
lambda male.
Yeah. And it was funny too, because when my mom found out the name of it, there's the fucking gay bar here in Prince George. It's called Lambda.
Oh,
So
yeah.
she just looked at the CD and so Lambda? Like,
You got something you
yeah.
wanna tell me,
Things are
Chris?
just clicking in her head. Oh, this makes sense. This makes sense.
She goes, what is that?
That's also the bartending school, right? That
Yeah,
you,
yeah, yeah.
That you
Yeah.
attended?
Yeah. She goes, what is that? And I'm like, it's
You went to a gay bartending school?
pretty much, yeah.
Oh, perfect.
She goes, what is that?
They,
And
they flip a lot of
I
bottles
go-
around and
They
I-
love Tom Cruise and
adding
cocktail.
flair to it. Woo.
They watch.
they
Cocktail.
do some flair stuff. And first of all, Cocktail's a great movie. It's not. It's a fucking piece of shit.
Who's the?
It's totally watchable.
No, but who's the other guy? Who's the guy who teaches him his shit? The veteran bartender.
I don't. It's not Coogan, is it? Tom
I don't
Coogan?
know.
Or, I don't know.
But his character is just some older guy, probably just riddled with STDs. He's been
Yeah.
bartending for like 35 years and going home with whatever fucking riffraff is left in his bar.
Yeah, married to some fucking hot chick for some reason. I own a bar, but I've spent all my money because I gambled it up my nose.
So never grew up.
Classic mix-up.
Yeah, so I named it Lambda Male, and then my mom was like, so Lambda, what is that? And I said, it's a Greek letter, and all she heard was Greek. That's all she heard.
Adonis.
Oh,
Great,
so it's like
like-
a double entendre type
Like,
thing.
Oh, no. And she's ready to call it off. Dad, don't go any further, son.
Why is male in quotations?
And that is
But-
when did you release your CD?
September 2nd of last year.
Okay.
So we recorded ours at the same shows.
He's
Yeah.
pointing to me.
Hmm?
He's pointing to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Because we did ours at that same show.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
Well, for the audio listeners at home, thanks, Brian, for
I'm
thinking about
pointing
that.
to Brian. Brian and I did ours at the same show. We did it at the same venue that we're doing this New Year's Eve show tomorrow
Right.
at Art Space, which is like a fantastic place to do comedy. You
Yeah.
could set up the chairs however you want, which is a big plus. Because as much as I like Nancy O's, I love the owner Owen. I think he's great. It's not really an ideal spot for comedy because it's such a long room. Like you want it shaped like a box almost
Right.
would be preferable, but it's good enough. Like it's not a terrible room to do comedy in. I'm talking about Nancy O's now.
Right.
But the setup that they have now is better than when they started. Because when they started, you were up by the window and it was like playing to a long.
That's where they do the open mics.
You think the
Yeah.
window's
On
worse?
Wednesdays.
I always wondered if the window would be better.
No,
Because you'd be looking directly at the crowd.
Well, they would just have to set up speakers way back there.
I think they do. I think they do.
the
Well, they just
problem
have
I
to
is
get
guess
better.
I guess it's nicer to perform probably with people all around
Yeah.
you, right? Like to your left and to your right, rather than you looking
Yeah,
down
I'd
a
rather
tunnel.
perform
Yes.
to a wide audience than a long.
Yeah.
Well,
Standing
yeah,
in
for
a-
sure. I get that, but I feel like sometimes I'm staring at the wall at Nancy O's because I'm looking.
Well, there's a mirror.
And
Dude, I look at my fucking like
I
left
get-
knee in the mirror like all the time when I'm
Yeah.
up there.
I look
You're
at the
just looking
people.
at the
That's
fuck-
what I do.
I can't see
Yeah.
faces and they all look fucking weird to me. Like the light's too bright. That'll be the fucking.
This
That's
is-
the name
this
of
is
my
when you
first
know-
album right there.
rookie comics
The light's
immediately.
too
The
bright.
light's so bright. What's the matter with this?
The first time I stalled out, actually the only time, but it was
First time I did comedy, like the first time I had sex, right?
I looked at it. What it was looking at people. I'm trying to get better at doing like Chris is saying, where you know, like make eye contact and look at the audience. And I was telling my joke, and I was looking around and made eye contact with a guy who was just fucking staring at me, and I was just staring at him, and I was like, "Holy shit!" And I stopped, and I was like,
Are we in love?
"Like, Dad, is that you?" And then I was like, "What the fuck was I even saying?" And I'm like, "Oh my god, this guy's fucking staring at me." Looked away. I was like, "I don't
Yeah,
know
he's
what I
staring
was
at you. You're
saying."
holding a fucking microphone
then-
on a stage in front of people.
In an elevated
Stupid.
platform.
And I stalled
Under
out.
a spotlight.
And then you
Fucking
start
idiot.
looking around, and
For
I'm
like the fourth time in
everyone
your
is-
life, though.
Everyone is staring at you. You're like, oh, better think of something to say. Like it's getting hot. And you're looking around, and everyone's just looking at you. There's fucking lights beaming on you. I was looking at the door. I was like, fuck, you think I could make it?
Clearly, he was bombing at this moment in time.
No, I don't think he's bombed.
No, it was working. That was for. We
that was
opened
the-
for Bueller.
Yeah, and it was
Yeah.
the first. I wrote that Lumosity joke that day, and then went to do it that night. And I'm talking about strangling myself with the mic cord, and I'm holding the mic cord, and I said, "Just think about how much in debt I am. Makes me want to strangle myself with this mic cord."
Yeah.
And I looked, and everyone just looked at me like, "Is he gonna fucking do it?" And I was expecting a laugh, and it missed, right? Like didn't work. And I didn't know the joke good enough to just power through to the next line.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, what the fuck?" And yeah, that was a weird noise. I was like, "What the fuck?" And I just couldn't think of it. No, don't worry about it. It's fine. But yeah, so that really told me, I was like, don't write a joke and try to do it on stage that day. That was a
Well,
bad
also-
idea.
That's a
don't-
rookie mistake.
But the thing is,
Don't bank on the
I do
crowd.
that all the time.
I wrote a new joke yesterday for
But
the
you're not a
first
rookie.
time since
That's a
I've been
good
in
point.
Vancouver. First time I actually sat down in here yesterday for like an hour and started writing. And I wrote a first joke. I got a fresh minute that I want to do. But I'm like, no, I'll just keep having flashbacks of that fucking Lumosity bit just stalling out tomorrow night on stage.
Yeah.
But
Well,
we'll
also
see.
don't think that it can't like to get stunned when your jokes miss. Like I've missed and then like ran into the next joke.
Yeah.
Like fucking instantly.
Yeah, you're just sprinting for
You're
it.
like, it just shows you're so fucking scared of like, but you were waiting on them. Just don't ever wait on them. Just have the confidence in your sentence. And if it misses, just to be able to stand there and absorb it is something you have to do over a lot
That's
of
what I
time.
tell. That's
I
what I,
think
But
it
you
was-
have to be able to just show enough confidence that,
that's
that
what
you
I
believe in all your material all the way down.
I think it was Graham Clark that. Oh, quit whining! I think it was Graham Clark that told like be more comfortable with the silence.
No, I told you guys this. I tell John White this all the time.
Right.
That's why we do Alfredo's. There's no
Here,
audience.
I'll go let him out, Chris.
And
He probably just has to take it.
I got it from Chris Rock. He says you have to get comfortable with the silences
Okay.
because there's going to be silences. And you just have to learn how to.
Gaskin can just let him out.
No, I'll let him out. Go for it.
I don't.
Get going. Oh God, that was on live air.
Yeah, okay, it's fine. Like,
That was their secret.
that's why I was trying to
Hug.
tell. Yeah, that's why I was trying to tell him. Just let the dog lay there.
Yeah.
It's been fine.
Well,
Yeah, like watching John. It was
John who?
watching John White. It was like Bryce had pointed it out. I really like Bryce. Bryce is so fucking funny.
Bryce.
Bryce Larkin.
Bryce
You can't
Lockett.
just say their first name.
Yes, I can.
No.
Yes, I
Well,
can.
Listeners don't know who you're talking about.
They still don't know who we're talking about.
Yeah. They don't even
Bryce
know
Larkin,
who the
look it up
fuck
on
I am,
YouTube.
so I don't. So,
This is Chris Gaskin.
That's unprofessional.
are you, dude? We just had
We need-
someone
we need Owen
crawl
here.
under the
Who does
fucking
that?
door,
We need Owen here to tell everyone to turn off
drag
their cell
his
phones.
drag his
I know.
dog out.
You got to be the change
It's
you want
fine.
to see in the world. You know?
But it's one of those things where you can power through, but you're almost you're better off learning how to pace it as well, because I know comics that's all they do is just power through. And I watch them and they're great comics, but it's like, man, if they just allowed the audience a half a second to laugh, and then at the end of a chunk gave them like another half a second to breathe
That's
and
when you
then
take a
lead
drink.
in.
That's when you take a drink.
Yeah.
Or
Like-
yeah, whatever you have to do, whatever's your thing. But
Like if you can get the crowd to make this sound like and then launch into something else, you're doing insanely well.
right,
Because you've gotten them tired out from laughing. That it's better to reset than keep trying to power through. And like I know guys that they just power through the entire time. And like I said, they're fucking great comics. They're better comics than I am.
Talking about Simon
But
King, aren't you?
Simon, Brett Martin is like that as well. Brett's very, and he's at Nancio's on the 8th and 9th here in Prince George. He's great too, but he's very, like just power through, and then tailors off the joke, and then straight up back to power through, and it's not, you don't have to go at like a fucking snail's pace and wait for the audience to laugh after every punchline, but you just want to go to as close to your own speaking rhythm as possible.
yeah,
And it's like, I know Simon, he talks really fast. He doesn't normally talk as fast as he does on stage. Same with Brett. But I mean, like I said, they're both phenomenal fucking comics.
yeah. Their jokes are good. Well, I've only heard some of Simon's stuff, but his jokes are super tight. And he's
Yeah.
he thinks a lot. He thinks a lot about what he puts into his material.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially if you're gonna rip through that. Like that's another kind of thing where if you're gonna talk that fast, you got to write that much more to cover that amount of time. So to fill up 5 minutes is a little more impressive. Not more impressive, but just takes a little bit more, because that would be 7 minutes if you could just slow the fuck down.
Yeah, when I first saw Simon, it was at this place called the Shiznit, where the old Fraser Inn, Simon Fraser Inn.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's called now, but there used to be a comedy club there, and he opened up for some guy. I forget who it was. Kelly Dixon. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, Kelly's great.
And I got to talk to Simon. He was doing the opening spot. It was probably 30 minutes, maybe 20.
25 to 30
And
usually, yeah.
he goes, yeah, that was like 45 minutes worth of material in 20 minutes. Because he was just talking so fast, and it just came at you so quickly. You have to really pay attention for you to catch it all.
Who's the best fast act out there? If you think
Probably
we're gonna-
Simon.
No,
Yeah,
no. I'm talking about like worldwide.
I'd say
Has there been like a legend who talks insanely quick? Carlin was kind of quick.
Robin Williams.
Williams, yeah.
Maybe Williams. I mean, right now, I'd say it's a toss-up between probably Simon or Dave Merhesh. I don't know a lot of American comics that talk really fast like that. Maybe Eliza.
Or
Eliza's
just
pretty fast,
anybody
but
from the past even. Just has
Carlin
anyone
wasn't
made
that
that
fast,
work
though.
unbelievably? No. He just had a lot to say. It wasn't that it was fast, it was just a lot to absorb to stay on his train of thought with him.
Robin Williams made it work. But that's
Yeah, he could jump back and forth.
yeah, but
But
that's
that
like,
was his whole act, was improv off the top of his dome.
yes and no.
Besides what he stole, but a lot of people talk about what he stole just being a symptom of him doing his act that way.
Yes.
That he'd bounce around so much that stuff would just leak in, and he couldn't
Yeah.
help it. And once it's yours and it works, you tell the other guy sorry. But I'm Robin Williams. I heard stories that he used to pay people.
Yeah.
It's like, hey man, sorry, but I'll give you a few bucks because I know what that means
He
to take money out of your pocket when I'm taking your jokes, or if you did that first.
allegedly,
But, yeah, all that is
allegedly
secondhand.
speaking, he used one of my buddy's jokes on Letterman, and then again, allegedly, ended up writing him like a very good recommendation letter,
Oh, yeah.
and got him in touch with, got this guy that he swiped the joke from in touch with his manager to get him his O1 work visa to get in the States.
That's cool.
Allegedly. Allegedly.
Are you gonna
Weird
look
how
into
that
that?
works.
Am I
You
gonna
ever
what?
thought about looking into getting the work visa to go work there?
Yeah, I have.
What do you need to get it?
Like a pile of recommendation letters. Any type of newspaper article, any type of magazine thing, any
'Cause
television that you have.
Who's that guy? He's in New York right now. Phil Hanley.
Yeah.
When he headlined a little coffee shop
Yes.
in North Van, he asked for the poster from Mikey Wolf. He was using that as part of his thing.
Yeah, that would
Because
make
to
sense.
say that, yes, I have headlined.
Yeah.
They don't need to know it was 12 seaters.
No. No, but it's like
But he can show that he's headlined to show that he
Right.
is actually professional level.
and you look at where he is now. Phil Hanley's really good, and he's been headlining Caroline's a couple times. He's been on the Late Late Show a couple times. I mean, that's a guy who's making. It's funny because you always talk about like, isn't that crazy that someone we know is doing that? And I'm like, no, that's the business that we're in. That would be like me saying, it was crazy when you were on First Talk. You're going, that's my buddy on First Talk.
That was a TV show on
It's just like,
APTN.
that's
First
that
talk.
that no one's ever seen.
No, I remember First Talk. Of course.
With the host. You preoccupied there, Alex?
Just doing some logistics here, folks.
It's on Tinder.
yeah. We can see it on the fucking screen, and I don't know who Jared is, but
He doesn't look like he's your type.
No.
clearly
You're looking for a twink. You're a
check-
top.
You checked yes on both men and women.
Yeah. That's how I do it. You want to FaceTime someone?
Whoa, what did you just do?
Don't worry about it.
I think he's trying to bring someone into the podcast.
No,
Oh, you just invented a camera angle that doesn't exist.
No,
Oh.
I didn't.
Did you plant a camera?
It's right there. Boom. Just
It's
zoomed
just a
in.
mirror.
Just fucking
Yeah.
around.
Yeah, no, I just just
You're
closed
just-
maps.
Killing podcast time right now. That's what
No,
you're doing.
it's not that easy to sit here in this chair and run the thing, all the time. I got a lot of shit I got to do too. You know?
I swear to God, I could sit where you're sitting, put my feet up, and the thing would run immaculately.
Yeah, it would if you were sitting there yelling at people to keep their voices up.
Look at that
you
big shiny computer. Fucking does the trick. That's that on it money, bitch.
know? Yeah, it's a good thing we're getting those right now. No, as I had to direct someone. Someone was trying to get a hold of me, trying to find a link to the show.
To what we're doing here.
Yeah. All right, should we play Celebrity Net Worth? We're kind of at a lull, eh?
I fucking love Celebrity
Ask more
Network.
questions.
Yeah, I was waiting on more questions from you guys.
Sorry, I was out of the room. I didn't know. I just walked in. I crawled in actually.
When you
what were
toured,
guys
did you
talking
work
about?
with?
I don't
Did
know
you
where
work
we
with
were.
the same people every show?
No, of course not. because I'm just doing club work, so I'm bouncing club to
So
club.
were you
Like, it's-
middling?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was doing.
So you're working with one headliner after another in each city.
Yeah, I worked with 6 different headliners. I worked with the same MC a couple times, but for the most part, it was all different acts. Like I got to work with Kyle Radke. I got to work with Chuck Byrne. I got to work with Ian Sirota. Let's see who else. Oh my God, these other guys are gonna kill me for forgetting them. Who the fuck did I work with?
Tracy?
I did work. That's who I was going to say at the end. But I got to work with Tracy McDonald, I was really excited for that one. Oh, Don Pere was the other one, and then Tracy McDonald and Andrews. And why can't I think of his? Is it Andrew? Oh God, this is killing me.
Andrew,
I
you
have
leave
to
a
look it up.
lasting impression.
I am.
Your comedy was
I
solid,
saw a
Andrew.
comedian last night.
I really fucking
He
loved
was
him.
really
too.
great.
You did a
What
lot
was
of
his
good
name?
things.
You know what?
I forget.
You-
What was he
Poke
talking
that thing,
about?
Stinger, when you get a
I
chance.
forget, but it was funny.
I
cut
could
your
tell
head
you
off.
exactly what he was talking about. It was a bunch
It's
of.
creeping down.
We're gonna have to force it.
I'll give you a push on the tape. It'll
It-
tighten
There's
up
some criticism, Gaskin, of
later on, whenever you get a chance.
Yuck Yucks because you're only working the weekends. If you don't live in Toronto or live in back east, you got to find your own accommodations and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What do you do for those 5 days
Couch surf, and it's not even 5 days.
with other comics, right?
Yeah, it's realistically like 2-3 weeks
This is all on your
back to back.
Well, because you're a
And-
couch surfer, you're not actually. Are you paying these people?
Like I'm buying them dinner and beer and shit.
Nice close
So
up of the mug. Oh no! Now you gotta. If you usually just push the tape back to where its normal position was, you don't really need to hinge it.
technical difficulties on the camera side,
Always.
folks.
That's what makes people tune in. A close up of this fucking moneymaker.
Woo.
Gets the people going.
So you only work weekends. So you work like what, a
Yeah.
Friday, Saturday, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday,
Andrew
or just
Johnston
Saturday, Sunday?
was the other one. Andrew Johnston.
Real
So
homogenous name that is.
Yeah, just Facebook him. You'll find him.
yeah, he's
There's only
very
like
fun.
2 of them.
So it depends on the club. Some clubs are Thursday, Friday, Saturday. A couple of the clubs were just Friday, Saturday.
What about one show a night, 2 shows?
Some were one, some were 2 on Saturday. So it was like Mississauga is just they've got like an amateur night on the Thursday and then 1 show Friday, 2 shows Saturday.
Yeah.
Halifax was 1 Thursday, 1 Friday, 2 Saturday. St. John's was 1 Thursday, 1 Friday, 1
Is there
Saturday.
a scene there? Is there a comedy scene
In
there?
Halifax, not anymore.
No.
No, it's sad. Like when I was there a year and a half ago, it was booming. They just had Picnic Face was on television. They had like a bunch of rooms. They've got 3 rooms now. That's it. They had a room every night of the week when I was there. They had like
Yeah.
rooms that would rival the club on the weekends when I was there the first time. And then just this past time, it was 1 Monday, 1 Tuesday, 1 Wednesday. And that was it. And those nights, I was in a hostel. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Which it wasn't bad. I mean, the hostel wasn't good.
Yeah.
But it was like, it was better than the first hostel that I was at, because the first hostel, it was like, I got in the first time I was in Halifax, and the owners were like some Eastern European. And I was like, this is a room where I get the skin taken off of me.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that movie must have done damage to the hostel industry. I was like, no,
Man,
we're not
I-
staying in a fucking hostel.
When I hear the word hostel, I'm like, no. I won't do
Yeah.
it.
I just think about flopping around with my Achilles tendons cut.
Yeah.
Like, maybe we should just get a room.
Yeah. It's,
What's that? What's that word? Like words that sound the same but have different meanings and they're spelled differently?
those are different words, man.
Yeah.
No, they're like there's antonyms and there's synonyms. Synonyms.
Homonyms.
Homonyms.
Let's go with
Yeah.
that.
What's hostile? Like hostile and hostile.
Oh, hostile and hostile.
That doesn't help.
Hostile.
Hostile.
Right.
Hostile. People say that hostile.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
hostile. He was
fucking
being-
idiots.
He was being hostile. but it's,
But
you
he was
just
being
drag it out of the
hostile.
context of the sentence
Yeah.
most of the time.
Right.
But there's
yeah.
a word for that where two words sound the same, but they have different spellings and different meanings.
Right.
Like 4, 4, and 4, 2, 2, and 2.
Yeah.
So
I wasn't an English major.
I paid attention in class. So
Well, it clearly shows.
Just enough to not know anything.
Yeah, exactly. You can't go bragging how good you paid attention.
Yeah, it's a
I have a
homonym.
university education.
It is a homonym.
Score
Do you ever
one for
remember-
Stang.
Stang was right.
Do you ever remember
Bow
when,
down, son.
like, there's a threshold you pass through as a man when you no longer cry from pain and you no longer think movies are scary. Like, there's not a single movie that can come on.
Right.
But I can remember watching movies where I would just turn away.
Yeah.
And I think I was still, like, a pretty young, like, The Ring. They're like, you don't want to see this broad come out of the TV, man. You don't want to see it.
I thought
And I
that
would
was
just,
like the coolest part of that fucking movie.
I know, but I was just a
Spoiler
little
alert.
bit too young
First of all, that movie
to be
came
like,
out
oh,
like
I'm just
10
gonna
years
fucking
ago.
take this head
I'll
on. Like, I
probably
was
never
still
watch
worried
it.
about what a movie could present to me.
Right. I was scared shitless, so I watched The Ring in the theater, and I kept cracking jokes the whole time.
See, I
To
watched.
cover
To
up.
try and make
to cover
myself.
up.
Because that laughter, it made me feel a lot better when people are laughing.
I watched it in the theater. I went in the daytime just because that's when I was free to go to the movie.
Yeah.
And there was like, I don't know, 7 other people in the theater. And the scene where she's on the ferry and the horse breaks free and starts like chasing her down and then falls over and gets fucking torn up by the
You're
fans.
right.
I started
fans?
laughing.
That's what, yeah.
I started laughing.
Yeah.
And everyone turned and like gave me this disgusted look, and I was like, "This is kind of funny, wasn't it?" And, no, it wasn't. And I was like, "What was that?" Or, you know, he was going to turn into glue and dog food. So I think this is
Just
a
as
more
humane.
heroic death here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Jumped
Yeah.
off into the water like a fucking crazy person. It's great.
Or like when the Titanic goes down and that one guy falls and cracks his skull like 3 times.
Oh, when
I
he's
fucking-
bouncing
yeah.
off of the like
Yeah.
a fucking
That was
pinball.
Bill Burr.
Ding,
That's,
ding,
that's
ding.
Bill Burr in his tuxedo.
You're just like, oh, this is like
Is
one
it
of,
actually?
No.
this
Oh,
is
is it
like
what?
one of the somber moments in history,
Yeah,
and it's like you're just laughing your head off.
yeah.
Because this one guy goes down and just cracks his skull, and it's just like a YouTube fail, really. Like,
Yeah.
It's the
no, but that's what Bill Burr always. That was his bit about if I was on the Titanic.
yeah, he would have
It's
been
a
that
horror
guy.
I would've
story.
been
It's a
that
horror
fucking-
story.
Yeah. I don't
Yeah,
think
women think it's so romantic. He's like, we wouldn't have been that couple on the wood. I would have been that fucking guy playing the violin and going down.
That's the opening scene from Meet Joe Black. You ever seen Meet Joe Black?
No.
No.
Where it's got Anthony Hopkins and Brad Pitt
Brad
who plays
Pitt.
Death, and then like no one else.
No one.
No one. It's
Two-man show.
it's got a decent cat. It's got that
Carrey
that
movie.
fucking skinny broad from
Mallrats.
Mallrats, yeah. That I can never remember her name.
I love Mallrats.
And
Is that the same girl that was in Dazed and Confused
probably
Yes.
with the weird face and Big Daddy?
Yep. No, not her.
She wasn't Dazed and Confused though.
No, it's she was also in Dazed and Confused. But
Yeah, she played the young girl that didn't she?
if you scroll down, there you go. Nope, that's too much. Okay.
Jesus, Chris. Come
Claire
on.
Foriani.
You
Yeah.
need me to put it up a little?
Claire Foriani.
Up a little
Claire
for you, just like you
Forlani.
need.
Yeah.
A little booster seat for you there, guy?
Yeah,
see that,
I
huh?
could use a booster seat. That would help.
Want a cookie?
So
My self-esteem
The-
could use a booster seat.
the opening to the movie is Brad Pitt meeting Claire Foriani, and it's like that typical Hollywood fucking meet cute bullshit. And then they're both walking away from each other, and they keep like doing the turn back to look at each other, but the other one's walking, and then he turns back to look at her, and she's already around the corner, and he's in the middle of a street, and then he gets like pinballed by like 3 different vehicles, and it's fucking hilarious.
That is hilarious.
It's so goddamn funny. It's like literally he gets launched up and then hit by like a
Yeah.
bus and then like another truck.
That's
And
huge.
it's just overkill on
Oh, we're watching it.
And he really just gets like,
yeah, here. This is
why is he standing in the middle of the fucking road?
because she goes around the corner. Yeah, he's standing in the middle of the road like a fucking idiot, and then almost hit by the car, and boom, van, boom. Yeah,
That's fucking
He's
awesome.
standing in the middle of the intersection on a red light, no less.
Did people expect that not to be funny? Like, was that the intent?
Oh, of course.
Like, this whole
"Oh,
movie-
this is going to be tragic that he dies like this," and it's the funniest fucking
Like, it's
thing.
supposed to look graphic?
Dude, I want to see that on a GIF. I just want a GIF of that rolling in the background here to dress this mess.
It was. I watched that.
Like, the movie doesn't contain any other attempts at any humor or anything. It's a very
There's
like
pathos.
dramatic movie.
Yeah, it's like an insanely. There's some humor here and there because he plays death, so death takes over that body,
Right.
right? And there's some humor in death.
But it's not
trying
as
to
funny
live.
as Down to Earth with Chris Rock. Was that it? Where he's
That movie
He's dead?
is a piece of fucking
it's a
steaming
remake.
garbage. It is a remake,
Down to Earth?
but it's
didn't mind
a
it.
steaming
Tiger
pile
Tiger
of
Tiger
garbage.
Woods, y'all.
That's where Chris Rock is a big fat white guy, right?
Yes,
Now we start singing like
And-
DMX.
Yeah, and he becomes like
With-
the president of the United States.
Jennifer Coolidge. What are you doing? I'm backing that ass up, G. Ugh. That movie's terrible.
And now he's
Yeah.
divorced.
Yeah,
Who is?
Chris Rock.
Chris Rock just got divorced.
After 19 years of marriage.
Ooh, tough. Isn't he like
It's a
50?
long one.
Probably.
No, he's not
I
50.
think he's around there. Yeah.
50?
Yep.
Here we go.
Yeah.
I would not say he's over 50. I would say he's barely
I
in his
bet
late
you
40s.
I bet you he's 50. But
What- what does he- what does he- what does he say?
this year?
I will only
In
succumb.
his, because in one of his specials, he goes, "I'm 38 years old," or whatever, right? And he goes, "What was that movie where he played a crackhead?"
CB4.
No.
Was that no?
Wesley Snipes was in it.
Holy.
Are you sure that's not CB4? Was
Yeah,
he in CB4?
CB4 is the rap movie
Yeah.
where he plays a crackhead.
We can settle all of these.
Yeah.
All of these questions.
If only we had a way to
Okay,
access that
What's
information.
everyone saying? I'm saying he's 50.
I'm saying he's not over 50. 49 or under is mine.
I'm saying I'll say 50 on the dot.
I'm guessing 50 on that.
Yeah, I
You
think
can't
I think
guess
he's
50 on the dot. I just did.
I said 50 to start. That was my
49.
listen,
I'll
hold
go
on,
49.
51.
49.
No, it's just an over-under bet. Over, under 50.
Okay, is he
Under.
over 50 or
Under.
under 50?
It's definitely
is what
under.
you're saying?
No,
You know what? If he's 50.
Just hit
fuck it.
enter.
49.
There you go, 49.
That is really tight. He's
Like a
50. He's,
month.
he's fucking 50. That's
Yeah, he's 50
Eddie
and
Murphy's
50%.
53 years
Yep.
old.
Chris Tucker.
Holy
43.
smokes.
I knew Chris Rock
What
was
happened?
close to 50 because I heard an interview with him earlier and he was talking about how he says he's 50 now. And he's like, he likes it because
He
says
can
if
get divorced with his wife and fuck
when
young
he
pussy.
says when he's like 46, you say you're in your 40s and you don't get a lot. But he's like, now that if I say I'm 50, people like, you look good for a 50-year-old. Right? Like now that as long as you're past 45,
Yeah.
he said when he became 46, he started telling people he was 50 because he looks good for a 50-year-old.
Hilarious.
Yeah, I'm gonna look great when I'm a 50-year-old.
You think so?
Well, yeah, I look like I'm 12 right now, and I'm 28. So I mean, when I'm 50, I'm gonna look like I'm 30 and be banging some 22-year-old trim. It'll be great.
Okay.
Trim is pussy.
Yep.
Right.
I picture more of like a Schmeagol thing happening.
Kids.
My precious.
But we can't predict the future.
No. And
Apparently,
I-
people really hate those Hobbit movies, like all the Lord of the Rings purists. They're shitting all over those Hobbit movies.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was like, this is the same fucking thing, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
the story's different, I get that, but it's like set in the same world and the same.
Yeah, no, but The
I don't know.
Hobbit.
People
like,
just have to do that.
Well, no, I think they're probably pissed off because it's not holding true to the way the book was of The Hobbit.
Is that the case?
That's what I would guess.
You
Because
guess.
why? Well, why would they be pissed off that it's
know.
the same? But The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings are the same. It's the same fucking characters, same people. It's the exact same thing. They're different books.
Mm-hmm.
The Hobbit was a book. Lord of the Rings was a trilogy about the same people living the same thing.
Not necessarily.
Pretty close. No?
No.
Okay.
It's
let's hear
in the same world. It's got a few of the same characters, but it takes place before, like a generation before
it. Right, right.
the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Right.
But even as a prequel, it should
That's what I mean. It's
stick.
the first, it's like the first one in this.
But I don't know that that's the reason these people are upset with
Isn't
it.
The Hobbit a giant dragon?
It's because they're fucking nerds. That's why.
Well, for sure.
They're upset with everything.
Like the Star Wars people
can't-
too.
There are nerds who are pissed off at Guardians of the Galaxy. All right, they
For
just
sure.
they just get angry over any. You're ruining my
But Star
childhood.
Wars 7, it seems like it doesn't even have a chance, no matter what happens.
I don't know. That looks really
Star
fucking
Wars
cool.
7.
That looked pretty cool.
Yeah,
that
but
trailer.
it's like, what the fuck? Like, they're gonna make you a Star Wars movie, man.
yeah.
Aren't you pumped about that if you're a Star Wars fan? But no, they just hate it. They don't think like there's no one who could ever live up to Star Wars fans that are like from
They're-
the first 3.
Their bar is so high that it's ridiculous. And I mean, realistically, they shouldn't. First, let's say the first 2, okay? Because that third one's fucking terrible.
Well, there you go,
With
getting
the
all
fucking
nerdy.
teddy bears, with the teddy bears beating a bunch of fucking trained troopers. Teddy bears.
You guys fucking ruined it. Yeah, but they're from another planet. You don't know what these teddy bears are capable of.
They're on the juice.
Yeah, apparently they're capable
Fucking
of
Ewoks.
kicking the shit.
Ewoks. That's
They're the
right.
fucking worst. They're teddy bears, and they
They
get your
fuck
ass
shit
kicked
up.
by a fucking teddy bear.
No, those
This
are the.
fucking Ted. Shut up.
If you go into
Fucking
the
love that
woods
movie.
tonight, you're in for a big surprise. Just because teddy bears would fucking roll you on your
I
head.
bet you, yeah, exactly. I think if we threw you in a room with a koala gasket, I don't know, I'd probably put my money on the koala.
I'd put my money on a koala too, but that's not the point that I'm trying to make here.
That's just because Goskin likes
I'm
to
gonna
be a bottom,
fucking
though.
I'm gonna fucking storm. Hey. That was information I told you in private. I'm not a fucking stormtrooper though, all right?
Right,
A stormtrooper should kick the shit out of some little bitch ass teddy bear.
Yeah,
Hey, look,
their
I know
training-
it could beat me up.
Their training program is weak.
Of.
Their training program is like a Missouri police program. Real easy to
Yeah,
slip through.
no. Then they should have just shot every fucking teddy bear in the face immediately. So they still would have won.
Lasers. It's like when they show up in Avatar with all their like actual technology and weapons, and then these people still just have bows and arrows and these fucking. Like,
And they
do-
still win?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, no, they would just fucking bomb the shit out of you. Somebody's here.
Oof. That was a good one.
Like I don't
You don't.
I
You
don't
don't.
know. I can't. Every time someone tries to get excited about Ewoks, I just want to punch them in the teeth. Just it's the dumbest thing.
Well,
ever
if you're gonna
because
take
it gets-
movies seriously, like if you're gonna take one of them seriously,
But that
you have to
second
be able to
one
buy
gets-
into everything.
the second one's so fucking good, and it gets
That's what they said
so
about the
dark.
moon.
Hey,
That's what they said
take
about the
yourself
moon
away.
landing. If you know how people try to point out certain things that are fake, he goes, well, if that's fake, you have to point out everything else. Everything's got to be.
The camera froze.
You can't just fake.
No, we're still good. The audio's going through the cameras
not-
for us.
Yeah.
Oh, all the people are tuned in. I apologize.
Don't worry,
People
this camera
listening
won't be
live.
frozen. Hey, everybody. What's going on? It's this guy. All right.
Did
Let's
you
see if this
just
works.
do that to
We're
try to
going to,
reset the camera?
No, I think I'm just going to have a headshot of me from now.
We're gonna jump into celebrity net worth.
No, we lost the video. Yeah. That camera shit the bed on us or something. Did it come unplugged? Like right here, there's plugins, eh?
No, it's plugged in.
That's
over
it.
Because that blue light's not on. No, we lost her. If it was not one thing, it's a fucking
Jiggle,
other, you know?
jiggle the cord.
Being fired upon.
there.
Well, there'll be no video for the remainder of this podcast.
Must be a
folks.
lizard squad shutting us down.
Yeah, we're getting fucking hacked.
We're getting lizard squatted.
Gaskin and I were talking when we first started out. It was what,
It's nice knowing
11 years ago?
Great.
No,
Now Alex gonna
my-
take his shirt off.
10
My-
years ago? 11 years ago?
yeah, my first time on stage was like 10 years ago.
I just asked when we started out.
But that wasn't really when I started out. Technically, when I started out was when I moved to Vancouver. So that was like 6.5 years ago. Realistically, that's when I started out.
But when we started, there was just the two of us.
Yeah.
As for comics in Prince George, there's nobody else. We had no one. There were podcasts. There weren't really podcasts.
There were podcasts, but it was before WTF. It was before Rogan's. It was like before everything else.
Before podcasts were something that everyone had.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, the gaming website that I go to, IGN, had a few.
Right.
Like,
But they did. But we didn't have like resources like you guys do.
no.
Like, you can use us as resources. We didn't have that. We had each other.
You had Morse code.
Yeah.
and pigeons.
Well, neither of you still have a
Telegram.
car, so that's one resource you're without, or a phone.
No, I'm talking like comedy wise.
No, I understand.
And
what
the
you're saying.
advantages that you guys have. You have more stage time as well.
Right.
You've had way more stage time in the first, what is it, 6 months now?
Yeah, something like that.
Like in the first 6 months, I was on stage maybe 3 times.
Yeah.
Maybe. What about you?
Once,
Because you had to
Dude,
rent
twice
places out.
technically, and then
Nothing existed.
nothing.
Nothing. There was
Yeah.
no Nancyos at the time.
Well, we didn't know
It-
anything existed until you. I think you emailed the podcast, Brand.
The Yuck Yucks had burnt down.
That's
So
the old.
they
The
used to
old
have
insurance
Right. I heard about that.
Yeah.
at the Yellowhead.
The Yellowhead
Yeah,
had
yeah.
had like a weekly Yuck Yucks that ran Friday and Saturday.
but there was no
Got
chance
shut
for
down.
us to get on that show
No.
at all.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
They wouldn't let you open.
It never even occurred to ask
Oh, okay.
until the Shiznit came along and they had,
Well, what
they had
if-
an amateur night.
Well,
Yeah, and then
what's the
that
deal
was
with, like,
done
most
before I
Yuck Yucks?
started.
Sorry?
What's the deal like with most Yuck Yucks? You probably can't just walk into a Yuck Yucks and ask for a spot, hey?
No.
You do
Exactly.
it by email.
Yeah.
You-
Oh, yeah, I saw that on Wednesdays they have like amateur night or
Yeah,
something.
yeah. You email in.
You ask for a spot,
you
you
ask
wait a
for a
couple
spot.
months.
Right.
Sometimes you'll get one right away. Sometimes it'll take a couple months to get one.
Mm-hmm.
Like it really depends on what their booking practices are. And then you go up, you do 5 minutes, and you email them again the next week, and you just rinse and repeat.
Right.
And then eventually,
Hopefully you strike a chord with someone in management,
yeah,
and then they ask you to middle, I guess.
Paid regular,
Is it-
baby.
Who's that's David Tell?
it's
What?
Ari Shafir's
Ari
Irish Shafir.
special.
Sorry, Irish Shafir, yeah. Paid
Oh.
regular.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just put that out, didn't he?
I don't
Is
know.
he
Did it just
putting
come
it
out?
I think I don't know if he just put it out or if it's still coming out. I know it's
You just recorded it. I know that.
yeah.
Yeah, it's coming out soon. It's not out
That
yet.
guy's done a lot of crazy shit in his life, man.
It's not out yet.
Like the way he got started, doing like the Amazing Racist and stuff. Like I remember seeing that guy when I was really
Hey,
young,
Gaskin.
when he
He-
was doing that stuff.
Thanks.
I never heard
Me
of
too,
him
Gaskin.
again until I found out about Roga's podcast and I started seeing him a bunch. And I was like, oh, this is the fucking Amazing Racist, because everybody thought he'd be dead for sure with what he was doing. And you're like, oh, this is just a crazy guy on the internet who thinks this is funny and it's kind of wild to do. But that was going to be the extent of it. We turned into a crazy con. When I was coming back from Vegas, and we had to go to Winnipeg and then fucking fly back here, was the worst. And it's like 6 a.m.
We go
and
to Winnipeg on a
they start paging over the intercom. Ari Shafir is like not showing up for his flight.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, how many Ari Shafirs are there really? Like, he must have been. He must have
Probably
got out of
doing
town
rumors.
or
He's
out
probably
doing
doing
something
rumors.
else.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, that's crazy. He would have been right in this airport.
he's a great comic.
Yeah, he is.
A super nice guy too. Great comic though. He put out a video, not a video. It's kind of more just audio. But he did like a Q&A in the Comedy Store, and it's like this 4-hour long.
Oh, it's
Q&A
like
he was
like a
doing.
workshop for
Yeah.
young comics, right?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it was them just asking like, how do you get an agent? How do you get a manager? And he's like, this isn't the shit that you should be focusing on.
Right.
You should be focusing on the act first.
How to
Yeah.
be funny. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like realistic. That's what you spend your first couple years doing is just trying to
be
figure out
funny.
how to be funny in front of that crowd, like how to be as close to yourself, as close to what makes you funny in
Right.
front of that crowd, and then after that's when you start doing like, okay, I'm going to start talking about what I find funny
Right.
because I've learned what makes me funny in front of you guys. So now I could take what I find funny, mix it with what makes me funny, and
Do
present
you,
it.
That's your own material then.
Did you
Yeah.
see that Jim Jeffries podcast he was on? I think it was
No.
Whose podcast was it?
WTF. I think it was WTF. Yeah, he was saying something like, "Well, every comic thinks they're the best comic in the world because they're telling jokes that they think that they want to hear."
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's why I think I'm the fucking best. best.
I don't think I'm the best. I think I fucking suck.
What?
Gaskin and I, when we were living in Vancouver, when I was living there not with him, but when at the same time he was, we had goals where like we wanted to, like there were certain levels, right?
Right.
We wanted to, because there are comedy rooms in Vancouver, or like we want to headline these comedy rooms because there's like it's like the shows here now. There's the local openers and the headliner. He does more time, and usually gets paid, and that was one of the levels. And then it was to become a Yuck Yucks comedian, to work the weekends, the middle of the weekends, tour, and he's reached that level. Like we both had these same goals.
Right.
What do you guys?
What are my goals?
Yeah.
No, I do.
Maybe your goal should just be to get on fucking stage.
That's obviously where it starts.
If you want to be a comic.
I do. I want to headline a show definitely within next year here.
Stang did.
Yeah. Well, bloody fucking dog.
Bloody fucking dog.
UNBC Pub.
No, but I think I'm in this to see what it's all about. It was the one thing that I knew no matter what I had to try it. But even then, I've only ever, 2 weeks before I ever went on stage, I was pretty certain I couldn't do it. Like, you never think you can do it, and then you do it. And you're like, okay, this is part of the project. Like, this placing yourself outside of a comfort zone.
2 weeks before you went on, that was the night he went on.
Yeah. And I still didn't think I could do it. But I was still always going to show up and find out what it was about before I went up. So I was going to watch one first and then try it. And then you think you don't feel the way you felt anymore. Like after 10 times of doing it or whatever it's been. You know you don't feel the way you felt the first time. So you can spot growth just in a 10 show span, especially early on.
Yep.
But then you have to start thinking about what it really, like the fact that you've only now just jumped the first hurdle in a fucking gigantic course of how do I become funny, like legitimately funny.
Well, Rogan
You're living on like 3 punchlines. That's all you've ever come up with. That's all you have to go up on stage with.
I'm still living on that. Fuck.
Well, Rogan says that when you start, you don't realize you're on a 10-year long journey. Mm-hmm. And you look at the guys that are big now, and you think, oh, well, I've just heard of them. They've only been doing this a while. But no, they've been doing it 20 years. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, I've been doing it 11, and I'm not even close to where I want to be, where I think I should be. But it's because I'm here in Prince George.
But if you look back, yeah, as long as you're seeing some growth, if your time is being put in, it's really what it comes down to. It's like that 10,000 hours thing.
Yeah.
That's
because there's really no handbook for this shit. There's a handbook
that-
for some careers, certainly not this one.
That's kind of bullshit, though, that fucking 10,000 hours, because there's people who just have natural aptitudes.
That's true, but the mantra is that for the average person, if anyone does,
Yes.
any one average person spends 10,000 hours on anything, you will master it. The average human is capable of that.
Yeah.
But there's certainly prodigies, and there's certainly people that probably couldn't even do that after 10,000 hours of fucking.
Oh, we have that argument all the time. Like I ask him, can you become a plumber within a certain amount of time?
Yes.
And then I ask him the question, could that same plumber do what you do?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No, you have certain special skills that he does not. You can develop.
Well, that's what a question I was going to ask. Do you think there can be people make it that aren't funny, but they can be funny like a job?
I know
Where
a
it's
few
like-
of them, yes.
Where it's like they're not a funny person, you're not funny, but they can go on stage and they know how to.
I'm a living example of that, yes.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Like, you think eventually you just learn how to do that shit on stage and be funny, but then you hang out with the guy, you're like, this guy's not funny at all. Like,
Yeah.
I think those are guys that are strong writers. They understand how to write funny, which I
Again,
don't think is that easy.
I'm right here.
I'm right here.
Like I'm not. I'm never the funniest person in the room. I'm fine with that. I'm very, for the most part, I'm pretty shy too. Like
Yeah.
I'm very introverted. So it's like whenever people are like, I remember comics talking about like, oh man, did you go to that party? And then me sitting back like I wasn't invited to this fucking party. and then like 5 minutes later, like just shaking it off like, what? I wouldn't have even fucking gone. Why am I getting upset that I wasn't invited? I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I'm glad. Yeah, you guys had fun. Good for you. Like I had just as much fun sitting watching a movie on Netflix as you guys did getting fucking hammered. Like
Yeah.
I don't need that type of thing in my life. But I'm never the funniest person in the room.
What
And
makes
when
you
I
pursue
am-
comedy then, you think?
When I am, I'm upset that I'm the funniest person in the room because I'm like, man, these people are fucking boring.
You're in the wrong room.
What
Yeah.
what
There's
makes you
nothing-
pursue comedy then if you don't consider yourself the funny guy, I guess? Like what gave me the courage to get up was I'm always a storyteller. I'm always talking, and I seem to a lot of rooms I go into, just like with buddies, you take control of the conversation in the room.
Yeah.
And all your buddies are like, man, you're really good. Like, you're really funny. We like listening to talk. You should do comedy. And I'm sure that's probably, 90% of people who think they can do comedy here. They're like, oh, I'm always a funny guy. I could do it.
Yeah.
But that's what gave me the confidence to want to do it. And
I
then
never had that.
I got up on stage and started doing it. And I really like it. And I do think that, like, I can see where I need a lot of improvement on stage and writing jokes. And that's where it's really nice having Brian. Brian's helped me a lot with learning how to write jokes and the whole writing process. I've never wrote, but I really am starting to enjoy, hey, settle down. I'm really enjoying you're creating something.
Yeah.
It's like, I always compare it to like a painter painting a picture. Where, like, when they sit down and they start painting, you start with a line, and then you start doing some more lines. Eventually, you end up with this Picasso or whatever. And I see that with my jokes. Like, one of my best jokes I have right now.
It's a Picasso, so it's like no one understands it.
Exactly.
You got to be a real connoisseur
Yeah.
to appreciate my humor, man.
Exactly.
You got to really know what you're talking
the average
about.
schmuck coming in ain't gonna get it. But
This is a woman's body.
I don't know
Is
art.
it?
I
can't
don't
know
do
tell.
what
it
I
for them.
like.
I do it for me.
Wait,
but-
hold on. What did you say?
It's a famous quote. I don't know art, but I know what I like.
But you start out and like it started out so small. Like I had this little bit, and then as you perform it and you sit down and you write it, you start getting more like you call them tags, I guess, for it.
Yep.
And then I started to try to incorporate now like callbacks, and like this thing, it just grows.
My protege.
And you grow it into like this whole like big bit, and you're
Chunk.
like,
It's
yeah,
called a
a
chunk.
chunk, right? And you sit back and you look at
What
it,
is
you're
that
like,
chunk?
wow,
Oh.
like this thing, like I've made this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I just started writing a joke again yesterday, and
Like your relationship
small.
bit is becoming a chunk.
that's the
Like,
one I'm
it's-
thinking of. That's the one I've got that seems to have grown like that. I just told as a joke because I found me and my girlfriend would break up every fall or
Yeah.
spring and
Yeah.
get back together every fall.
It's funny because
And-
it's true.
And I would always I would tell it just as the 4 seasons real quick. And then
Yeah.
I started working on each season having like jokes within it, its own little bit, right? And then now I've grown it into 4 seasons full of jokes.
Well, and it was even like when we were outside of that comedy show,
Mm-hmm.
and you were talking with Matt Billing,
Right.
and you were comparing notes on like a certain subject, and I
Yeah.
was like, that belongs with those jokes.
So it's almost like they were riffing.
Right.
Yeah, like they were just because he was talking
The single mom thing he told me to throw in. right?
Matt's got a bit about dating, why he likes dating single moms. He goes, because they have better snacks. And then Alex goes, you know why I like dating single, just like Alex would, like, out of fucking nowhere. And by the way, this is right after his mom had just stolen roses from my grandmother's fucking
I
rose
was going to
bush.
say, if you want
All
later,
right.
we can swing by my mom's place. You can jack some flowers. Steal her Christmas lights or something.
Like just no shame at all too. And
yeah.
she doesn't even, she just starts like trying to defend it. And of
Most
course,
embarrassing moment
the
ever.
best part is like my grandparents don't realize that it's my friend, and I've already hopped in the back of the truck. So my grandfather's basically running out in a house coat with like a fucking broom.
Oh, you were
What
picking
are
him
you
up
doing? Yeah.
I
to
was
go to a
picking
show.
Gaskin
Okay.
up, and
Yeah.
my mom was talking as they're pulling in. She's like, oh, wow, that's a nice rose bush. And I was like, Mom, don't take his fucking roses.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, I'll just take one. I'm like, Mom, you're not taking the fucking roses. I'm like, you're staying in the truck. I'm going to go to the door. I go to the door, and I'm like, knock, knock, knock. And all of a sudden, all I hear is my mom, oh, yeah, it was broken. And I look back, and there's my mom. And Gaskin walked around the side of the house.
Yeah.
coming up the driveway, and there's my mom with a busted, like ripped a rose off of the bush and is holding it in her hand, and then she's just fumbling. Yeah, no, my son hit it with the truck, and it broke. So I was just taking it off, and it was like, Mom, I didn't run over the rose bush. Like, and then the grandpa comes out, and your grandma's like, you're stealing our roses. And then I try to buy into my mom's story. I was like, sorry, I hit it with the truck. And she's like,
and then I pop my head out, and they're like, oh, never mind.
You're with him, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was super embarrassing. I'm like, Mom, I just met the guy you had to fucking steal from his house.
I respect your mom though. I respect her because she took that trashing the entire drive up.
Oh yeah,
like a champ.
Yeah, well, she had. What was she gonna do?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the billing thing. What it was.
So you had mentioned just offhand. You said, "Well, I like dating milfs because I can get like a level higher than
like
a regular chick."
You can date away hotter broad if she's got a kid, right? And then you start.
And
thinking,
we were all laughing, and I just turned and went, "Dude, that should be in the joke there." And you literally shrugged your shoulders. I was like, "Don't fucking shrug your shoulders."
Yeah.
That's
Did he
part
say?
of the joke
Did he say
now.
write that down?
Yeah.
Did he say that?
No, I don't know. I think I do
did.
now. I always keep.
I said
notes.
make a note of it.
I've got
Oh yeah. Well,
I've got the notes thing here, and like I'm super excited to get back to it now that I'm done school, because while I was down there,
we have to find a workout room still.
Yeah, I would love one because I've got a lot of good ideas right now. Like one I just came up with the other day is whenever my laptop dies, like do you ever like your laptop dies and you have to plug it back in, and then when you first turn it on, it's like all fucked. You're like, even my computer wakes up out of sleep mode groggy. Like you turn it on and then like you go to move the mouse and nothing's happening. And I just picture my computer's like, fuck, give me a minute here, hang on, let me find my shit. And so I think I'm pretty excited about that. I can turn that into something.
Trying to bring up the operating system. Let me put on a shirt here.
Yeah.
On Windows 8, here comes.
There was one time Gaskin and I were walking from Yuck Yucks going to the SkyTrain or the bus or somewhere, and I was he asked me about an open mic like a couple nights previous, and I said there was this comic who was doing terrible, right? And I said there were more people there that would like to see him shot than would call the cops. And then we were walking, and all of a sudden he disappeared. I was like, what the fuck? He had stopped and pulled out his notebook and like kind of kneeled down to write that down.
Right.
And I'm like, where the fuck did he go? He's like, rips it out. And he's like, you have to use that somewhere. I still haven't, but
I like the idea of the bubble chart thing.
Any type of like lying like that.
Yeah.
If he says it, I'm
What is it,
usually
fucking-
I'm the one who writes it down and then fucking hands it to him.
what's that joke
Because-
that you...
Like you just be
It's
wiping your eyes, be like, "What is it?
The
8:30?
XS.
We're going on fucking
XS pill.
YouPorn?
The XS pill.
We had
Fucking
to,
8:30.
we
Come
were
on, man! It's 4 a.m. You gotta beat your dick off right now.
All right, I'll get up. And it's funny because when
all
you
right, hold
do
on,
it,
let me undress for you now.
Oh, great! Now you're gonna go back to sleep. Can we talk? Can we at least talk for a minute?
Cuddle.
put on a movie
Something.
for me or something.
What happened? I passed out.
Listen, you got a bunch of emails. Answer me.
And when you hit the buttons, nothing's happening.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden,
You gotta hit the right button.
It does
Yeah.
everything you hit in like a half a second.
Oh, yeah,
So I
it just-
picture it's you throwing a bunch of shit at him, and he's like, all right, gets up. He's like, oh shit, the fucking coffee's spilling. I gotta get this. And like, oh, there's my pen. Like,
Just make it a broad. That you like some
Yeah.
booty call or something. Yeah.
Michael McGuire's got a great bit about his
here's my
phone.
laundry. Well, I don't know what you want.
Just like 6 different things. Well, fuck, I don't know. You give me all this information.
Just throw it all at me once.
So like
Tell
there
him
was
about the
one
XS
time,
pill.
That's what
Okay.
I'm doing. There's one time we were walking, and it was I think we were coming out of the SkyTrain station, and Brian was telling me
I used to
about
work at
this-
a 24-hour porno store.
about this fucking pill that he was buying from the porn store. It was called
The porn
an
store that I worked at.
S pill.
XS.
XS, and he was telling me about it, and I was like, "So what is it?" And he's like, "It's like an over-the-counter Viagra, basically." And I just turned to him. And
It's
I
a
went,
blue pill. It's like $10.
I was like, "So does it even fucking work if it's over the counter?" And he said to me, and I quote, "I wasn't sure at first until she touched me, and it was like
touched
pow."
it. Touched it.
And and he raised his fist up like this. And I go, you punched her in the face? And we started laughing. I go, with your dick. You punched her in the face with your dick, huh? And we were just laughing. And then I turned to him. I go, that's funny. You should say that on stage. And he goes, yeah. And I'm like, no, it's fun. Like, we both had to stop walking because we were laughing so hard.
Yeah, those
It's
things.
good. Say it on stage. And he started arguing.
I was like, nah.
And then I go, well,
It didn't fit in with my material at the time.
Bullshit.
What
I
was
know,
I-
but if
A
you
dick
you
joke
take
doesn't
that-
fit in with Brian
This was
Major.
years
Like,
ago.
have
This
you
was
ever
years ago.
seen in sitcoms, like if it's like King of Queens and it's like they'll write episodes based around some of Kevin James's bits?
Yeah.
Like they did his phone number rhythm bit. He does that as an opening scene on his show where he's on the phone with somebody and they don't
I
have
love
phone number
that one.
rhythm.
Yeah.
And he does it, but you see how they crowbar
Bam, bam, bam.
that into there where you take it from stage to something he's supposed to be doing in everyday life.
That was
and I
Lucky
think you can
Louie.
go the other way like you guys were doing, something in everyday life and then you just take it to stage.
Yeah, that was Lucky Louie. The entire show was built on Louie's act.
Mm-hmm.
But
It's
it-
kind of the same thing he's doing now with like
So-
the dark Seinfeld that he's doing, where it's like Seinfeld would do a bit at the start, and then that would be the theme of the show, like a little
yeah,
bit.
yeah.
Yeah, he's doing that same thing, except his is like
So
X-rated, kind of like.
so, it like Brian and I were
Weeks go
arguing
by.
about this joke for weeks, and then finally I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna start doing it because
Unbeknownst to me.
he goes. First of all, I told you I was gonna start doing it because you kept going like, no, I'm not fucking doing it. And I was like, it's goddamn funny. And we're in a room that probably doesn't exist anymore.
Jupiter?
No, we were at the
Kingston?
Kingston, and I'm on stage, and I tell the joke, and it gets an applause break, and I finish off my set. I get off stage, and Brian's just pissed. It's like, what the fuck, man? I go, what do you mean? He goes,
It was fake.
the
rage.
joke. What the fuck? I go, what? I go, dude, I told you could have it for like the past 3 weeks, and you kept saying no, and I told you I was gonna do it. And Brian goes, I didn't think it was funny.
I have a bad memory too.
Well, that's what Bueller was telling us, right? That he said, like some pro comics will do, like they'll hear an amateur comic come up with a really good premise, and they'll be like, okay, I'm gonna give you like, a month or 2 months to turn this into something good.
and if you don't, I'm going to
Otherwise,
take
I'm
it.
taking it because that's a good fucking idea you got. So turn it into something good. Otherwise, I'm gonna start working on that.
But when
I never
but
do
when
that.
Bueller said that, did he say that's what he does, or that's what other
no,
comics
no,
do?
he was
That's what other
talking about
comics-
big league boys, like like super pros.
Well, when I saw
Like
Pat
he's talking
Oswalt,
about, like how you're saying how Robin Williams would be like, oh, like I took this guy's bit, but I'll throw him some shit.
when I saw Pat Oswalt at the Jupiter, he closed out the show and he sat through all the locals, all the local openers, and he goes, "Yeah, some of you guys have got some great jokes. I can't wait to take them back to Los Angeles
Yeah.
and rework them, and turn them into mine." Right? He
Yeah.
was joking, but who knows?
Yeah,
he's
for
funny like
sure.
that.
I
He
could-
gets a lot of respect, that guy, and
He's-
deservedly
he's
so.
very
But
funny.
he's from a certain. He shows you that like he represents the nerds, I guess, of comedy. Like people really like him that are into comic books and that whole like scene. But he just shows you like where comedy can just come from anywhere, and he just represents a certain faction of people, where it's like they feel represented because they're like, this is our funny guy. Like he comes to Comic-Con, but he's as respected as stand up as there is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Another lull.
Yeah.
No, I just found, like I don't know, like when I was going to school, I found though, like that was such a good opportunity to try things. Like you have a classroom full of people, and I would just say joke, and you're like, if this hits and everyone's laughing, you're like, okay, I should write that down because it is funny.
Well,
Even if
well,
I didn't think it was
give
funny,
it-
like
give
I
it-
would just do.
Give us a real life example.
Well, like one thing we started talking about, I forget, we were talking about something, and then I started
What were you
talking about-
taking?
It's called instrumentation mechanics. It's an apprenticeship.
Okay.
It's a trade. Red Seal, by the way. And
I did that same style thing though, like kind of being the class clown, but just being in a group of anybody, and it's like you don't even realize it because you're just being kind of funny, like saying something funny. But now that you've gone on stage, you're like, oh, maybe I can take this with me. Like that whole 5 minutes on Justin Bieber is just stuff that I've said around
Well,
after
I
hockey
did.
or
I got
anything
one
like
about
that.
like the moonshine.
You're like, maybe this will work.
That TV show, the Moonshine, like Moonshiners, because we were talking about reality TV, and then I was like, that's fucking retarded. Like the Moonshiner show, Have you seen it?
No.
It's a reality TV show, but about guys who brew moonshine in the mountains.
Okay.
And then they've got 2 camera crews. They've got a set of camera crews with the police. Then they've got another set of camera crews with the moonshiners. And then every time they go to the police, they go, this is highly illegal to be doing moonshine. Like, if guys get caught moonshine, they start rattling off all these sentences. And the moonshiners, they're like, fuck, man. They're like hiding in the bush as the cops are going, like, if we get caught doing this, we could be going to jail for life. And the cops are like, we just need to find these people and get them behind bars. And you're like, why don't you ask the camera guy? I bet he knows where fucking everyone here is. Like, you know, like you got guys on both sides. That just
They
shows
work
you like
for the
how,
same company.
yeah, how fucking stupid are people that they think that shit's real when, you know.
Dude, cops.
And I think moonshining was the perfect thing to pick because all you got to do is make water.
Well, that's
Water
the,
looks like moonshine.
Cops
so,
is
that's,
real.
That's the Richard.
Because a cameraman just got shot and killed on Cops.
that's-
really?
Yeah, like straight up.
Yeah,
He's
that's
deceased
the,
because that was his job.
Yeah.
that's the Richard Lett bit about Manhunter, Man-Tracker.
Right. Yeah.
Where Richard Lett talks about Man-Tracker. He goes, it's always, you know, some couple fucking yoga people wearing pants, couple. And he goes, Man-Tracker's just sitting on a horse. Like, I don't know where these 2 faggots are. I see the camera crew, but I don't know where they are yet.
Yeah.
It's a great show. It really
Yeah.
is. A lot of people shit on Richard Lett. He has some good stuff here and there. He really does.
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of that's just such an open, ripe category. Like
Well, reality TV is just so easy.
right,
to
like
fire
even
up.
Survivor.
Yeah, it is.
Like when it started with Survivor, like I remember that. I don't remember the year, but like those first
97?
Survivors
It
swept
wasn't,
people.
it was like...
He's
it
got to
was,
be right all the time.
People were getting together at houses, like watching these
Yeah.
shows, and it's
And
a
at pubs,
fucking.
and at
It
pubs
might have
too.
been that... It might have been like late 90s. Yeah, it was probably late 90s. Late 90s or early 2000s.
Right there.
Yeah, they're having Survivor.
Created in
Survivor.
1997.
Yeah.
Survivor
premiered in
parties.
2000.
Made in
Survivor
97.
parties.
Premiered in 2000.
I remember I watched it. I watched the
Yeah.
entire
I watched
season.
the whole first season. Yeah.
I watched
Well, the
The
internet
first
wasn't
two.
even really accessible at the time. There was just like dial-up.
Yeah,
So the
it
world
was
still
horrible.
revolved around television.
I had Simpatico. That was the only website I knew.
Getting back to what you were saying about being in a class, though, like I was never, ever the class clown. I was the kid that would whisper, like hear what the class clown said,
Yeah,
and
and
then
then make a
trash the
joke of them.
class or the
Oh.
class clown to the person beside me.
I distinctly remember in grade 9 social studies, we had science right before that block,
Yeah.
but we had a teacher that would say, "Oh, let's do current events. Like what happened, like who watched the news? What's happening in the world today?" Some guy put up his hand. He's like, "Oh, there was a stabbing, right? This guy got stabbed like multiple times and he was killed." And the teacher was like, "Where?" He's like, "Oh, this is in Vancouver, right?" Stuff like that. And at that moment, I was like, "Oh, that's so fucking." He goes, instead of saying Vancouver, he should have said, "Oh, he got stabbed here, here, and here," right?
Yeah.
And so I turned to my buddy and I said, "When we go to the next class, ask her, the teacher, to do current events,
Yeah,
and then tell that story." Like I didn't even say
Right.
it. I
Yeah.
got him to say it. I said, "Tell that story about the multiple stabbings, but don't say where, because it'll ask, it'll
Yeah, she'll-
cause her
she'll-
to
yeah.
ask where, and when she says where, you say, 'Oh, here, here, and here.'"
yeah.
Yeah.
And so he told that story, and she's like, "Well, where?" He's like, "Oh, here, here," and she's like,
That's
I
funny,
remember
well, I was-
that's probably like one of the first jokes I've ever wrote,
Yeah.
if you could even call it
Yeah.
that.
Right.
I was listening. It's interesting how some guys go on radio and they work in a bit like they would on a Conan show. Like they have the guy ask him questions that set up his kind of
Yeah.
They do
punchlines for the
panel.
subject.
Well, we
Yeah.
tried
Yeah.
that in like an
Like that.
early ATM.
I know,
got
but
you to
it
do
didn't work.
for-
But I was listening to Bill Burr on O&A. And afterwards, he's like, "Did that work? Did that go the right way?" And they're like, "Yeah, that was fucking hilarious." But you could tell it was one of the bits he was doing at the time.
Yeah.
He was talking about how you like when you go to Jamaica and you stay in a resort, why the locals hate the resort. And he's like, "I get it. It's like when you get there, they put you on a bus. You're going like 80 miles an hour past all this poverty and this suffering, and there's people chasing around chickens, and then they drop you off at the resort. It's like dun 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 dun. And you're like, of course they fucking hate it. They got to build 10-foot walls so these people don't come in and stab you.
Well, before I saw Chris Rock for the first
Give
time,
you guys, I got a 5-minute warning before I got a jet here.
Chris Rock was on Jay Leno promoting his upcoming tour because he had just was starting out on his tour, and he was asked a question about his children, right, his daughters, right, and he goes, like, what's your, and he goes, my only job is to keep them off the pole, right, stuff like that.
Your headset not working, guys?
And then we saw him in concert, and that was his opening joke for the Never Scared tour. And I remember my friend, she's like, I've heard this before. What is he doing? He's doing old material, but
when they're on that show, they give you a sample of what they do.
Yeah, it was just
they'll do one of their jokes. Conan's really good at just volleying up the beach ball over the comic on the chair, and he just gets to run with his bit.
Conan's
Plus Andy
the best
Richter
at that,
on the other side.
And then Conan's also really good at like tagging stuff without taking away their heat from it.
For sure.
Either. Like
he's interesting because he comes from like that really educational side of humor,
Yeah.
like with that Ivy League education and shit.
Well, he's the guy who fucking came up with that plan to steal Burt Ward's fucking Robin suit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Burt Ward was doing like a
is
speech
he nerding out again?
at no, kind of. Burt Ward was doing a speech at Harvard, and he brought the Robin suit with him, and then Conan was working for the National Lampoon there, and they ended up coming up with this plan so they could steal the Robin suit, and then midway through Burt Ward's speech, out comes Conan wearing the fucking Robin uniform, and apparently Burt Ward just threw this giant shit fit about it. That's all.
I remember Conan was talking with Louis because when the Conan show first started, when he first got like the Late Show, Louis was one of his writers, and they were running this show, and they were all like fresh faces, and Louis laughing because he used to take it so seriously. Like if Conan wouldn't put a joke on that he wrote that was like not good for TV, he'd fucking like cry about it.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, "Come on, man, what are you doing here?" And then he's like, "Fine, I'll go and do the fucking joke." And they talk about this one joke he wrote for him, and Louis got so upset over it that Conan just went out and did it, and it was some about like a antiques mock show, and they have these old coins, and it's got Andrew Jackson's face on it or something like that. And the joke Louis wrote was, these coins are so old you could buy slaves with them. And he's like, I'm not doing that, man. It's not good for TV. And he fucking like freaked out. And then he's telling the story to Conan. He's like, and then you went out and did it, and it fucking fell flat on its face. I was sitting in the back like, man.
But like Burr's recent appearances on Conan have been fantastic.
Yeah, and he even kept some of that stuff out of, like, he did that Paula Deen one.
Yeah.
And there was only a smidgen of that in his new special. So you see that he comes up with so much stuff, he just drops shit, really. But some of his bits about old racism.
Yeah.
Like, he did the best. Like, you knew the Donald Sterling situation was just going to be, all the comics were going to jump on it. And then you just see his angle of it. Like, for an 80-year-old white dude, that's not that bad. Like, he didn't even say the N-bomb once.
Yeah.
He's like, that should have been carpet bombed through that whole fucking speech.
The Rogan take on it was pretty good, too.
I liked it.
Where Rogan was saying, like,
That's on Rocky Mountain
what
High.
he said was, you could fuck them, but don't take don't take pictures with them, but you can have sex with them. And he goes, and they just swept the last part under the rug.
Yeah.
He goes, everyone, but he goes, he goes, that sounds like a good deal to me. But if you flip it, if someone said like, hey, you could take pictures with them, but don't fuck them, you'd be like, yeah, that's reasonable.
Yeah.
And then there was, there was the bit that was circulating of Dave Chappelle when he was talking about it.
Oh, the
And he
audio?
Yeah, and
On YouTube?
he was talking about bringing in the team.
Right.
Listen, guys, I want you to know, I may have said some shit. So, I just want you to know it had nothing to do with all you guys, except you could leave, actually. He points out a white guy. You can leave. Don't worry. It's got nothing to do with you. But the rest of you, just listen up. I may have said niggers. I don't remember.
He's so good.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, it's funny though because I try to like stay away from topics like that just because I know
Topical humor.
that. Well, I know that by the time, even if it's something that can be presented and still be topical for like the next year or two, I just know that every other comic
Somebody else
try to
is
tackle it,
working on it.
and
Well, do you remember what I told you 10 years ago?
you told me to write about myself.
No, I told you to write jokes that you could
So
tell.
you're gonna
20
pay for this?
20 years from now.
Yeah.
You're gonna pick this up, right?
Write jokes that you can tell 20 years from now.
Yeah, well, if you put a lot of time into a bit and then you see another guy doing it and it's similar, then you're just running into a bunch of these fucking things you don't want to run into.
Yeah.
You're like, that time could have been spent better putting it into a bit that I know is mine and it's a lot more.
And the other thing
Selective.
is, you almost, if you're going to come up with a topical bit, you want to come up with like the seminal bit about it. So you look
That's
at
what Chris Rock said.
yeah, you look at Chris
About
Rock's
OJ.
bit about OJ. Like that's the best bit about OJ. You look at Louis' bit about flying. You look at
Yeah, you think
Like
about how
there's-
many fucking airplane jokes
Airplane,
get done.
yeah.
And you're like, how do you possibly have a new take on airplane jokes?
Right.
But Louis was pretty recent and
Yeah.
pretty fucking funny.
so is Burrs.
but
about
so is
being
Wi-Fi.
afraid.
He leans on Wi-Fi quite a bit.
Yeah,
And that
but so
that's
is
recent.
so is Burrs' recent one about being afraid on a flight. The guy making that.
the guy
noise.
making the girly noise,
Yeah, and that's airplane material.
Swallow it. Be a fucking man.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we got to wrap this thing up here.
Yeah, we even teased
But-
the viewers with celebrity net worth, and we didn't.
I
Even get
know.
there.
We'll get to it. How long are you in town for, Chris?
I gotta be back in Vancouver for the 13th for jury duty selection.
Oh, awesome.
So
Why don't you just save them the time and say you're not gonna pick me?
So
is
you'll
it-
I'm racist against everybody.
I look like a I still go by finders, keepers, losers, sweepers.
This is what you get for voting, you fuck.
yeah.
But no, so you're gonna be in town for like another couple weeks then?
He's going to be here for the 8th and 9th at Nancy O's.
I might. I
awesome.
it's still up in the air, but probably yeah.
Let's
I'll
do
probably
this
be
again
in
right
town
after
for-
New Year's.
That's
Like,
what
let's
I
do
mean,
this
it'll be-
again in like 4 or
Yeah.
5 days.
That's what I mean. It'd be great to have you on the show
Absolutely.
again. I
Name
mean,
a
we kind of got off to a slow start, and I
Picked
like
up
where
some
we were
steam
going
there
here at the end.
Yeah,
I
name a
hate to-
date.
hate
Now we
to
got to
start,
cut
but,
it short.
Yeah, no, we should do it again.
We should just
Um,
edit, like make the start just the last half hour.
Yeah, we lost video, so I mean, people are pissed about that. They love looking at Gaskin's hat.
His newsy cap.
Okay, so we did another episode of Address This Mets. We had thanks for coming
Extra,
out,
extra.
Brian.
Read all about it.
Brian, thank you for coming.
BloodySavage.com.
Yep. And
Why
at the
not
Bloody Savage.
BrianMajor.com? Like,
Because it's got an E on the end.
Because he's got
If
a
you,
thing.
if you heard BrianMajor.com, you would think BrianMajor.
yeah, until they
Majeure.
type it
A
in.
very force majeure.
We can make it so that
there's a
Google
wrestler.
autocorrect
There's
it.
a wrestler named Brian Major.
What
He's a
about you,
WWE.
Gaskin? How do we get a hold of you? Got anything you want to plug?
I don't know if he's got a website.
ChrisGaskin.net.
Yeah.
I've got, at Chris Gaskin, got a Facebook fan page. Tomorrow night, doing the New Year's Eve show at Art Space.
Come on out, you
Tickets.
fucks.
Nancy O's 8
Tickets are $30, $40 at the door, but we'll still do a pre-sale right before we open the doors to
Right.
sell for
So it's
30
$30 at the door.
So it's 30. I'll probably just fucking do 30 at the door.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Mike Stang, how do people get a hold of you?
at Stangorama. Check out this podcast. There's plenty about me on this website, addressthismess.com. And yeah, I don't even have a YouTube shit.
If you
YouTube
want to
channel.
find me,
You don't have
Yeah.
a video
figure
yet?
it out.
Where can they find you, Lisping Larry?
They can find me at
Super sweet. Super.
xnxx.com. xnxx.com.
Lemon Party.
All right, you guys have been great.
Slash
Thanks for having
Whammy
us.
pants.
Thanks for having us. Fuck. I mean,
Backslash.
thanks for coming.
Hey, thanks for
Biracial.
having me.